I met Philip Brandon Gilmore, aka Sinful the P, about 4 or 5 years ago. This was during the time when Sinful was starting to grow his social media presence, and we would occasionally see him in O'Shea's chat room or roasting Popies online. I heard the rumors about Sinful and how he was known as the infamous P who PIMP'd an underage girl years ago. But his presence online and the rumors going around didn't add up. Sinful was always polite and playful with me and the others in the chat room and never addressed the women in a demeaning way. I wanted to find out if the things being said about him were true, and if so, whatever happened to that young girl. So one day, when Sin was in the chat room encouraging myself and others to tune into his channel, I took the opportunity. I tuned in for 8 or 9 of his live streams. His chat room was filled with misogynists and ex-Ps who were formerly in the game. Every time I tried to engage or super chat a question, his followers, his male followers, would answer the question for Sinful, which was usually some demeaning response like, I needed to know my place as a woman, or how I needed to select one of them to be my P. And although these conversations took place in an online chat room, I could still feel the pressure and feel their controlling nature, even through the screen. After a while, I stopped commenting in the chat room, and I only tuned in to hear about Sinful's most recent roast of others in the game, or his beliefs in the Bible, and his speeches on how to be a man. I recognized from the beginning that Sinful had many layers. One layer was the innocent choir boy. That was brought up in the church. Another layer was his family life and him being raised by mostly women, giving him the ability to be charismatic and to understand female nature. And his last layer was to use his charisma to obtain the women and the money he desired. I learned many things about Sinful and his followers through his live streams, but I had not learned anything about his underage victim. So as a last effort and as a way to find Sinful's hidden layer, I booked a phone consult, hoping that I would get the chance to ask more questions about the girl and possibly learn her whereabouts. I paid for 90 minutes, which was divided between 2 or 3 phone calls. In the first half of the first call, we talked about where we grew up and what led each of us to the P and HO lifestyle. And toward the end of the call, Sinful talked about how he too was the victim of SA as a kid, and how the rumors about him knowingly being with an underage person was not true. Sinful claimed that the girl lied, and her real age wasn't discovered until after the deed was done. And in the last 2 phone calls, Sin would continue to echo the point of untrue rumors circulating online, and how none of the women who worked for him were diseased or underage. Since Sinful willingly gave me this info and I didn't have to pry, it left 2 possible conclusions. Either Sin was telling the truth about the girl lying, which would further explain why he was never convicted of a crime, or at least that crime, and why the accuser never spoke out. Or it demonstrated his willingness to divulge and his shame. And how he would never make the same mistake again. Sinful believed in God and the words of the Bible, which spoke about forgiveness and repentance. So should we mourn and hold him to the same standards set forth by his own religion? Or do we remember him as once a P, always a P, from cradle to grave? You be the judge.